Icy Hot Beats.
Hey guys, let's talk about internal radio pouches today, and then the new offering from Crye. So here's three different offerings that I have previously used, right? And as far as I know, these styles were all that were out there. So here's the Crye radio pouch from like the JPC lineup. Here's a Faro Concepts, I think they call it the Wingman pouch. And then I have no idea who made this one, but it's a custom one that I bought used from somebody. All right, so all three of these have something in common for the most part, and that is they have a fixed height. These two for sure. The Faro, this is elastic, but in all reality it's a fixed height because whatever slack the radio is happy sitting at is where that's going to lie. All right? You had a little bit of variable ride height on this one because the Velcro is full length on this more compact pouch, so you could in theory drop it down on your front plate just a little bit, but in all reality all three of these have the same ride height, right? And you can see that matters when you start getting into the 152 series versus some of your smaller commercial radios. You've got an extra, 2.5, 3 inches of radio on the top there, and that can be problematic if you're riding your plate carrier as high as you should be, because this starts finding its way into your armpit and it can be pretty uncomfortable, right? But that has been the status quo as far as I know since this concept started. All right. Recently though, Crye released what they call their configurable radio pouch for the Airlite line. All right, and what this thing does is it lets you adjust the bottom of the pouch. Right, there's a little tab here and there's a corresponding tab on the back, and by moving those up and down you can control the depth of the pouch. All right, so if we start looking at the 152 series using that pouch, we wind up with a radio that can sit easily 2 inches, if not 3 inches lower than the old standard. You can see I have this tab all the way up still, so I have the entire face of adjustment on this side, and I've actually got one more tab that I could drop this side down. So with the new Crye radio pouch, you can actually drop that 152 to the point that the top of the radio is flush with the top of the pouch. Now, whether or not you're going to want to take it that low is going to be personal preference based on your torso length, but I will show you how this fits on the plate carrier in just a little bit, so you can see where that ride height lines up for myself. And I can tell you from wearing this around for a little while, this is significantly more comfortable. It may not look like it right now, but even that difference in height is enough to keep it out of my armpit and make shouldering a weapon a lot more easy. All right, it's still a viable option with your commercial radios. You just won't have to use as much of that ride height. Okay, one other thing of note here, and I'm ashamed to admit how long it took me to figure this out, so I think it's important to talk about. With your old style radio pouches, you had a right as worn and a left as worn. All right, they have the tab with the Velcro coming off opposite sides so that your loop is up and your hook is down. All right, so that gives you a very clear option for either side. Now when you start looking at the configurable radio pouch here, if you look at it from the old mindset, you've got only one option here because it has loop on one side, hook on the other, and these are not sold as a pair. But Crye says that it's an ambidextrous design. So I looked at it for, again, longer than I care to admit, and could not figure out how this is ambidextrous until finally it clicked. All right, so what you have here are basically two parts. You've got your Velcro and your circumference of the radio, and then the other part is your depth control here. If you want to change the side that you're wearing this radio on, you actually have to take the depth control completely out, which is actually very easy. You just undo this tab, and these tabs are super friendly. All right, you just poke it out, and there you go. You dropped out the bottom. And then this side is only slightly more complicated because you got to untie that shock cord before you can actually move that. And then you drop that out. And once you have the depth control removed, you just flip it upside down. Right? So here it is ready to mount on one side of the vest. And when you want to mount it on the other side, now it makes sense. You flip this out, turn it upside down, and you have changed the orientation of the pouch. Right? I wish that on the website it said that, because it does not ever explain that. And if you don't catch that, you're going to be sitting there puzzled, just as long as I was. Right? The circumference portion is the same top and bottom. The only exception being, you know, the tags, but that's a non-issue. All right, so this still gives you the option to carry basically any radio that you want. You can also still fit 2 M4 mags in here. If you had the old style pouches, there is no reason to buy 2 of the new ones unless you have 2 radios, because these still work just fine for 2 M4 mags, and they're at a pretty reasonable height. All right, you wouldn't want to use your ride height too much unless you were trying to do like 40 round PMags in this pocket. Then there's some value in having a spare of these. All right, 2 radios obviously get 2 of these. Okay, so with that all explained, I'll throw in my vest and I'll show you guys how this all fits. Alright, hey guys, so here is the new Crye radio pouch compared to the old Crye radio pouch. Alright, I don't know how well this is going to show up because the difference in height isn't a whole lot the way I have it set up, but the difference in comfort is pretty huge. Alright, so whether it shows up or not, this radio has about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches more above the pouch. You can see this one is more or less flush with the soft armor over here, and we've got basically the entire speaker body above the soft armor on this side. So just that little bit keeps all of it out of your armpit over here, and depending on what you're doing, this is in your armpit, right? Dropping it down isn't an issue for mobility. It doesn't pinch your side or anything. It's not, you know, like a rifle mag on the belt, and every time you bend over, it's biting you. This height difference here is totally fine on the bottom. You can see it doesn't come down any lower than the abdominal pouch. So if this isn't going to cause you any issues, this isn't going to cause you any issues. But it definitely drops it down. And once you start adding in your 6-pin connectors, so obviously putting the antennas forward is going to help. But once you connect those 6 pins, then you've got, you know, another 3 inches coming up, and that's where it really starts to bite you. So dropping this one down is a huge benefit to comfort. I also want to talk about real quick the Crye pouch is just easier to use in general. So you've got this the Velcro shock cord here. Now obviously I could take out some more slack on the shock cord, but the rigidity or the rigidness of the front face and the back face of this pouch, it holds its body a lot easier, and it's way easier to get the radio in and out. And the ability to just remove the shock cord while you're trying to route your radio and whatnot, you don't have to kind of pre-game which side of the pouch you're staging this to avoid your 6-pin or your antenna. The old style here with the fixed shock cord, you kind of have to, do I want to put the antenna on afterwards? Do I want to put the push to talk on afterwards? You got to kind of leave one of them off so that you can route this over it. So it's nice to not have to worry about that at all. Not a huge benefit, but it's something worth mentioning. So I don't know if the height difference is going to show up any better now. This thing, in my mind, total game changer. Like, this is the most exciting thing for 2019 as far as I'm concerned. Because, you know, a couple hours in a plate carrier, this thing shoving into your armpit, it hurts. So thanks, Crye, for doing that. If anybody knows of a different radio pouch that's internally mounted that has adjustable height, let me know. I know there's cummerbund mounted ones that are. That's not how I like to wear my radio. So not going to argue the merits of that today, but I think this is a win, and I'm excited to see it come out. Thanks, guys.